The two Uber comrades on Patreon supporting my channel, my partner Rosa, and Independent Left News. Definitely check out Independent Left News. And I'm wearing this because of Christiane. She thought my nose needed whatever the hell this thing is. So that's why this on here. Very interesting, yet kind of frightening report, frankly, that was just released very recently by the Institute for Policy Studies. This is from the document. I will link it down below. This is a report they released concerning how much money the United States has spent on war, death, and destruction since 9/11, so 20 years ago, and the amount of money and resources that the U.S. has devoted to the war on terror since then. $21 trillion over the last 2 decades spent on death and destruction all over the globe. It's 21 trillion with a T. That is obviously a huge, massive, staggering sum. Again, the United States spends more on death and destruction, aka the military, than the next 10 countries combined. That 21 trillion obviously could have done a whole world of good within the United States or abroad if that amount of money was used towards humanitarian resources. Again, whether that was within the U.S. or outside of it, instead it made a lot of defense contractors, CEOs, boards of directors, politicians, that revolving door, very, very wealthy and powerful. And it did fuck all for the people in the U.S. and obviously for the people in those countries even more so, at the receiving end of these bombs, of these occupations, etc. Of the 21 trillion the U.S. has spent on foreign and domestic militarization since 9/11, 16 trillion went to the military, including 7.2 trillion for military contractors. So that's your Halliburtons, your Lockheed Martins, your Raytheons of the world. 3 trillion to veterans programs, 949 billion to Homeland Security. Again, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, something that didn't exist prior to 9/11. I believe DHS was created in 2003. 732 billion for federal law enforcement. And look at this, some of the things that this money could have went to instead. For far less than it spent on militarization since 9/11, the U.S. could reinvest to meet critical challenges that have gone neglected for the last 20 years. 4.5 trillion could fully decarbonize the U.S. electric grid. Kind of important, right? Climate change is an existential crisis, as Chomsky and others have pointed out. It could fully decarbonize the U.S. electric grid for a fraction of that, for a fifth, 4.5 trillion. Kind of important, obviously, if you want to combat climate change in a substantive and real way. Decarbonizing the electric grid would be a great place to start, right? 2.3 trillion could create 5 million 15 per hour jobs with benefits and cost of living adjustments for 10 years.
Guys.
Yep, so I'm wearing this. It's all her fault. 1.7 trillion could erase student loan debt. Again, that's something Biden could do with the swipe of a pen. He can make all of that go away. He chooses not to, for obvious reasons.
Okay, pause about that real fast. No, you're the one that agreed to doing that, mostly because you have 50 million blackheads on that loan.
She wanted to, is her idea.
No, my nose also has blackheads, and I'm reaching
449 billion could continue to extend the child tax credit for another 10 years. 200 billion could guarantee free preschool for every 3 and 4-year-old for 10 years and raise teacher pay. 25 billion could provide COVID vaccines for the population of low-income countries. I mean, Jesus. God damn, dude. I mean, it just, the priority's so fucking out of whack. So completely and utterly disgusting. 21 trillion. 21 trillion. Just insane. Let's see. But Jesus Christ. State of security. The cost of militarization since 9/11. U.S. military has more than 750 outposts, so military bases in around 80 countries. 750 in 80 countries. But we can't get universal health care here. Can't cancel student loan debt. We can't get an eco-socialist Green New Deal, but occupy, 80 countries, 750 military bases, money printer, go brrr, brrr, right? Whether it's Democrat, Republican, money printer, go brrr, for the war machine. Jesus Christ. Alright. I mean, mainly I just wanted to... Then fucking CIA, 28 billion, obviously fucking abolish the CIA as well. Get rid of nuclear weapons for sure. Damn, dude. Look at that, and how it just steadily gotten higher and higher. Doesn't make us safer. Doesn't make us safer, right? Doesn't make those people in those countries any safer that were, bombing into oblivion, drone striking into oblivion. 900,000 lives lost to the violence, many thousands more due to the critical infrastructure. So 1 million people plus died, 37 million people displaced, according to Brown University's Cost of War. Jesus. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, enough of that. Just really, really just disgusting the amount the United States spends on death and destruction while doing fuck all to improve the material conditions of the working class, the most vulnerable, marginalized in the U.S., and obviously the hugely disastrous consequences of U.S. foreign policy abroad, the almost million people who have been killed since 2001 as a result of the war on terror. And frankly, it wasn't a war on terror. It was a war that created a lot of terror in all these countries where it was, exported to. Just 21 trillion. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It's hard to really wrap my head around that. 21 trillion on death and destruction in 20 years, 2 decades, and just the complete misallocation of resources. How much good that money could have done here, obviously, or in the countries where we were dropping bombs, drone strikes, assassinating people, torturing them, occupying them, propping up corrupt governments, leadership, etc. Could have done so much good. Basically, any other use of this money than going towards death and destruction would have been a huge, massive improvement, right? And just the fact that 750 military bases in 80 countries all over the world, just failed state, shithole country, down with the American empire. All it brings is death and destruction all over the globe, right? Like the video if you like the damn video. Subscribe for more content. All power to the people. Peace. Much love.